The sorts of things you're likely to observe after a separation include a range of normal reactions and behaviours, and also there'd be ones that we think of as being more indicative of the person being crook with depression. So the normal range of behaviours are the things that that go with the feelings that you might have. So initially there's the shock, and the reactions might initially be, well, we're going to get back together again shortly. It's only a temporary thing, and a reluctance to really accept the reality of what's happened. After that, there can be kind of a lot of anger directed particularly towards the person who's your ex-partner, and towards people that are associated with your ex-partner. After that, moving into more of a depressive range of reactions without necessarily being a sign of being ill. People can get feelings as though that they're no good, profound sense of loss and emptiness and despair that generally lasts for a period of time and then goes away as the person comes to terms with separation and accepts that it's over, and then starts to rebuild their life. There can be a point though through this that men can become depressed and their behaviour changes significantly in a depressive manner. And typically when men become depressed, they withdraw. They can become cranky and irritable. They can have a whole range of normal depressive features and symptoms, such as feeling down on yourself, losing interest, losing enjoyment, not going out with your mates, and not functioning as well as you would have before at work, and so forth. It can affect your concentration, your sleep, and your appetite. And you can lose weight and have no energy. And that sort of depressive scenario is quite a common one for men. Life events such as separation are as an important cause or precipitant for depression as is genetics and things. So this is a significant life event in a person's life, a separation. So it can certainly act as a sort of a starting point for depression. Men can feel quite angry and aggrieved when it comes to separations where children are part of the separation, particularly when they don't have much access to them or perceive that their access to the children is unfair. So it can be quite a source of angry reactions, and clinically I've seen many cases where the anger has in fact been turned inward. We know if you're depressed, even if it's been precipitated by a separation, there is help available. And if you're not sure of what to do, the best place to go is to your GP. If you don't feel comfortable going to see your GP, then there's a number of information lines you can ring, including the Beyond Blue information line, or going to the Beyond Blue web, or other services that are available through public access. What would happen then is if you go to see GPs, they'd talk to you, take your history, they'd consider whether there are physical causes that might be contributing to your depression, hopefully look at your alcohol consumption and make sure that's within the healthy range. And then if there are no physical reasons or medical causes for depression, then they would tailor a treatment for you for your depression, or if not themselves, refer you on to see somebody else, whether it's a psychologist, or a psychiatrist, or a counsellor of some sort. Important in the treatment of depression in these sort of situations is to work through the feelings that you have about the separation and to resolve them, as well as to have the treatment specifically for the depression. I'd be really concerned about a bloke if he's gone through a separation and he's full of rage and anger and talking about suicide, particularly if he's drinking. That's a really dangerous combination, and at that point you might need to step in. If you know somebody who's in that situation, step in and do what you got to do to make sure they get help. As a friend, I would say to my mate, I'd say, look, I've noticed you're not behaving the way you normally would be. I'm concerned there might be you might need some help with some of the problems you're facing. I'd like to help you in whatever way I could. Could you consider that you might be depressed? What do you reckon? And sort of get them talking about what's going on, and then try to move them in the direction of what they could do to get some help for themselves. This problem, I've seen many cases where people have been very distressed and depressed after separation, and I can say that the majority of people do get through it and get better from it and get on and lead a happy life. It's tragic when you see people try and harm themselves or end their lives because they're so overwhelmed by the feelings that they have. Life does go on.